Let's play this with Joe Biden, because there's been a lot of questions like where Joe Biden has been in terms of cutting Social Security, cutting Medicare, and
trying to cut them.
What is the evidence that we have that can say where Joe Biden has been on this stuff? Now, obviously, Joe Biden's been out of office for the past 3 years. Prior to that, deep into the Obama administration, Joe Biden was leading the charge to cut Social Security via changing the way that cost of living increases were calculated for seniors. This is a documented fact. When there was an opportunity for the Democrats to leverage tax cuts that were automatically sunsetting from the Bush administration in 2010, Harry Reid had the upper hand. He had all the leverage. All of these taxes were going to set to expire. Nobody had to do anything. Do you understand? December 31st, 2010, nobody would have to do anything. And all of the Bush tax cuts would expire. Democrats could come out if they wanted to do cuts for middle class because that's what they felt that they needed to do. And that would have added some stimulus in their minds or whatever it is. That's the way they could have done it. That's the way Harry Reid was playing it. Joe Biden went round his back to make a deal with Mitch McConnell to preserve a bunch of the Bush tax cuts, decrease the leverage of Democrats. So if you wanted to expand Social Security, if you wanted to protect Social Security, if you wanted to increase the the cap on Social Security, could not be done because Joe Biden gave away the keys to the castle. So then you need to go back prior to the Obama administration. What was Joe Biden doing as one of the Democratic leaders in the Senate? Well, we don't have to go back all the way to 2002. We can go to 2007 after Democrats had won the House. Won the House. Republicans controlled the Senate. Are we going to have a battle between the Democrats who want to save and build upon Social Security? Remember, we are 2 years out in 2007 from a dramatic fight to keep George Bush from privatizing Social Security. This was a huge push. And the Democratic activist base mobilized. It was actually Josh Marshall did this big whip count of every congressional congressperson in the country in 2005. Where do you stand on cutting and privatizing Social Security? Democrats pounded on George Bush. It was his first big loss. And 16 months later, where is Joe Biden on this? Here he is on Meet the Press.
Senator, we have a deficit. We have Social Security and Medicare looming. The number of people on Social Security and Medicare is now 40 million people. It's going to be 80 million in 15 years. Would you consider looking at those programs, age of eligibility, absolutely, cost of living, put it all on the table?
The answer is absolutely. You have to. I mean, it's one of the things that my, the political advisors say to me is, whoa, don't touch that third. Look, the American people aren't stupid. It's a real simple proposition. We have to do, you and I were talking about Bob Dole earlier. I was one of 5 people, I was the junior guy, in the meeting with Bob Dole, George Mitchell, when we put Social Security in the right path for 60 years. I'll never forget what Bob Dole said. After we reached an agreement about gradually raising the retirement age, et cetera, he said, look, here's the deal. We all put our foot in the boat one at a time. And he stepped like he was stepping into a boat. And we all make the following deal. If any one of the challengers running against incumbent Democrat or Republicans attacks us on this point, we'll all stay together. That's the kind of leadership that is needed. Social Security is not the hard one to solve. Medicare, that is the gorilla in the room. And you've got to put all of it on the table.
Now, what do you put it on the table for? What does that mean? That is just a concession out of the gate. That is, we're going to make the baseline how much, we're going to fight over how much we're going to cut out of Medicare, how much we're going to cut out of Social Security. And we saw it all through the Obama administration where they floated the idea that we should raise the eligibility age for Medicare to 67. They tried everything. And he says, but at the end of the day, the key is that the American public's not stupid. They want us to get into a protection racket with Republicans to protect our ability to cut their benefits.
They want us to take away the most, maybe the only potent political issue we have at that particular time in history, to align in a tight bipartisan alliance to harm over 90% of senior citizens in this country. They know the deal. I was the guy.
I was the guy. Now I was the junior guy because they're all gone now. So I'm the senior guy. But I was the guy. And I got to say, kudos to him because he really got rid of his stutter then.
He sure did. That was very clear. I
Whenever-
ride the
whenever-
Amtrak
whenever
every day, and people
Right.
are always like, when are you going to cut my retirement benefits? What are you guys doing?
Whenever he talks at the idea of how bold he is, what a tough guy he is, because I get the guts to screw over my constituents and to sign a peace accord with my political opponents who ostensibly are the ones who want to cut it. But I'm admitting to you that I'm also the one who wants to cut it. So I'm cutting a political accord it's a protection racket. This is, and you can say, and I think you would be wrong because I have vivid memories of 2007 talking about this and getting mad at Joe Biden for embracing Paul Ryan economics or whoever was espousing it at the time. But you can say this was the politics of that era. And to some extent, that may be the case. Although, of course, Bernie Sanders, who existed in that era, but was on the sidelines, to be fair, because he was never invited to Sunday talk shows in those years. This is the biggest argument. I will concede it may have been the politics of the era. It is the biggest argument as to why Joe Biden is a horrible pick, not just in terms of electoral politics, but also in terms of what he would do as president, because he is still stuck in that era.
Well, that's what I keep saying. Everybody dunks on him for saying, Mitch McConnell, when Trump leaves, he'll calm down a little bit. And it's like, yeah, I think you're right. I think that he can work with Mitch McConnell and Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema and every member of the Republican caucus to do something like this.
Yes.
That's what he's talking about.
That's his game plan.
That's what he's talking about
I'm
doing.
going to get into a room with Mitch McConnell and I'm going to say, look, buddy, if we can cut Medicare and Social Security, not as much as you want, then I'm going to protect you.
And maybe in exchange.
And bless me, Father, for I've sinned, right?
Exactly.
It makes me a bad guy.
Well, that's why he kept that guy. That's why he campaigned for that guy. And maybe in exchange, we're not even talking about McConnell comes up for a modest tax increase. Forget that. I think in exchange, maybe McConnell comes out and goes, we should stop saying that Guatemalans are subhuman. Maybe. All right, let's go cut.
That's a bridge too far.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
We're going to let you have a Supreme Court pick as long as
I pre-approve it.
As long as you let Chuck Grassley pick who it is.
Chuck Grassley found a Democrat who's actually worked at ConAgra for 40 years, and he's going to be your pick.
Mitt Romney will choose your Supreme Court justice, but I promise we'll allow a vote for it.
Yeah. By the way,
now, we're going to call this person a screaming leftist who wants to socialize, but it'll be Mitt Romney's pick, and we will give you a vote. That's a great deal.
That's a great deal. By the way, he was the guy at ConAgra who said that women could use the water fountains. That's the kind of progressive politics that I'm bringing to the table. Yeah. And, for future reference, presidents shouldn't call kids in wheelchairs losers. All right, you happy?
Win for everybody. All right, final call of the day, folks. We're going to get out of here by 12:59.